Chosen one, slow down for a moment. Not because the world suddenly became quiet, but because your soul has been carrying noise for too long. Before you scroll away, just breathe deeply. There is a reason these words found you tonight. And maybe deep down, some part of you already feels that. Lately, you have been tired in a way sleep cannot fix, smiling while your spirit quietly drifts further away from peace. Moving through conversations, routines, responsibilities, yet feeling strangely disconnected from everything around you. Almost like your heart has been searching for something it cannot explain. Maybe that heaviness you feel is not weakness. Maybe your soul became exhausted from pretending to be okay in places that no longer feel like home. And maybe this moment is not here to impress you. Maybe it is here to finally understand you. Because heaven often speaks most clearly in the moments when a person feels emotionally invisible to the world. There are people around you who think you are simply tired. But this kind of exhaustion goes deeper than sleep. It is the kind that settles quietly into the nervous system after carrying too much for too long. You answer messages while feeling emotionally absent. You smile in conversations while your mind drifts somewhere far away. Some nights you sit in silence, not because you want to be alone, but because your soul no longer has the energy to explain what it has been feeling. And the strangest part is, you have become so used to surviving that you barely remember what peace used to feel like. The constant noise, the pressure to stay strong, the invisible weight of pretending you are okay has slowly disconnected you from yourself. Even the things that once excited you feel distant now. Not because you are broken, but because emotional burnout changes the way a person experiences life. Quiet grief can live inside someone for years without ever becoming visible to the world. Maybe that is why crowded rooms suddenly feel draining, why your spirit feels safer in silence lately, why your heart has been craving rest instead of attention. Something inside you is tired of performing strength while secretly longing to breathe again. Maybe the pain was never proof that God abandoned you. Maybe it was the sign that your spirit could no longer survive in places where it had been shrinking for years. Sometimes people think healing always feels warm and peaceful, but often it begins with discomfort, with disconnection, with realizing that environments you once tolerated now leave your soul exhausted. You have been trying to carry old versions of yourself into a season that no longer fits who you are becoming. That is why certain conversations feel heavier now, why forced connections suddenly drain you, why your heart no longer responds to noise the way it used to. Your spirit is outgrowing what once felt familiar, and growth can feel lonely before it feels freeing. The delays were not punishments, the closed doors were not rejection. Some things had to fall apart, because your inner world was asking for something more honest, more peaceful, more aligned. God is not pulling good things away from you. He is gently removing what keeps your soul in survival mode. There are seasons where heaven does not increase the noise around you. It reduces it, because clarity rarely arrives in chaos. And maybe this isolation is not emptiness at all. Maybe it is spiritual redirection guiding you back toward yourself again. Purpose was never meant to be a performance. Somewhere along the way, the world convinced people that purpose meant becoming impressive, admired, endlessly productive. But your soul was not created to live as a constant presentation for others. Real purpose is quieter than that. It does not always look powerful from the outside. Sometimes purpose looks like protecting your peace in a world addicted to noise. Sometimes it looks like walking away from environments that slowly disconnect you from yourself. Sometimes it is simply learning how to live honestly again after years of emotional survival. The truth is, purpose is not found in applause. Crowds are temporary. Validation changes with every season. Titles fade. Achievements lose their emotional weight faster than people expect. But alignment stays. There is a kind of peace that enters a person when they stop trying to become who the world rewards and finally become who God created in silence. Maybe your purpose is not to be the loudest person in the room. Maybe it is to carry calm into chaotic places, to move gently in a harsh world, to remain soft without becoming weak, to live with emotional truth instead of endless performance. Purpose is not proving your worth. It is remembering that your worth already existed before anyone applauded you. And perhaps the holiest moments of your life will not be public at all. Perhaps they will happen quietly, when your spirit finally feels at home within itself again, walking with God without needing the world to understand it. You can feel it happening quietly. The things that once felt normal no longer feel natural to your spirit anymore. Certain conversations leave you emotionally exhausted instead of connected. Some relationships that once felt familiar now feel strangely distant, almost like your soul has outgrown the version of you that used to survive there. And maybe that is what growth actually looks like sometimes. Not becoming louder, not becoming more admired, but becoming more honest with yourself. Your priorities are shifting in ways you cannot fully explain yet. You crave peace more than attention now, depth more than noise, rest more than constant stimulation. Even your silence feels different lately. There is less desire to prove yourself, less energy for forced connections, less attachment to places where your spirit never truly felt safe. The old identity built around survival is slowly fading, and something softer, calmer, more grounded is beginning to emerge underneath it. This is not weakness, this is transformation. Your soul is becoming quieter because it no longer feels at home inside chaos. And perhaps that is why certain doors are closing naturally now. Not because life is shrinking around you, but because your spirit is finally learning the difference between attention and alignment. Something inside you is beginning to settle now, not because every question has been answered, but because your spirit is finally realizing it does not need to force life anymore. The constant pressure to chase, prove, explain, and hold everything together is slowly loosening its grip on your heart, and in that quiet release, clarity begins to return. Not loud clarity, not dramatic signs falling from the sky, but a softer kind, the kind that arrives when your soul becomes still enough to hear itself again. You may notice that what once confused you no longer carries the same emotional power. Decisions become calmer. Your energy becomes more intentional. You stop running toward things that cost your peace. This is what divine alignment often feels like. Gentle, steady, safe, like finally exhaling after carrying invisible tension for years. God is not asking you to fight harder for your future. He is leading you toward what no longer requires you to abandon yourself to receive it. And perhaps this next season of your life will not be built on adrenaline, urgency, or emotional survival. Perhaps it will be built on rest, on inner stillness, on finally feeling at peace inside your own spirit again. So tonight, let your heart rest for a moment. You do not have to carry the entire weight of your future all at once. You are not behind in life. You are not forgotten by God. And you are not failing simply because this season has felt slower, quieter, or more uncertain than expected. Some seasons are not meant to rush you forward. Some are meant to bring your spirit back home to itself. Even here, in the middle of your questions, your healing, your exhaustion, God is still gently walking beside you. Nothing about your journey has been wasted. Not the waiting, not the confusion, not even the loneliness. There was meaning hidden inside this season that your soul may only fully understand later. But for now, breathe deeply and release the pressure to have everything figured out. You are still being guided, still being held, still becoming, and maybe that is enough for tonight. If these words brought even a small sense of calm back into your spirit tonight, let that feeling stay with you for a moment. You do not need to prove anything here, and you do not have to carry everything alone. If your heart quietly whispered, "I needed this," you can gently type Amen below, not as a ritual, but as a soft reminder to yourself that healing is still possible, peace is still finding you, and God is still walking beside you through all of this.